Those far-reaching missions return to Earth, a Navy crew from right here in San Diego will be there to welcome them back. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell joining us live from Naval Base San Diego, where the Navy did a test run practicing this important role it will play in these future missions. What an exciting collaboration, Marie.
It really is, Virginia. So the crew we're talking about is the crew aboard the USS John Murtha, which is the ship you see behind me. I'm going to direct your attention now to that mock capsule you see right there. That's what they recovered, which they say was no easy task.
Artemis 1 has reached splashdown.
In the dark, crews aboard the USS John Murtha simulated what it would be like to recover the Orion capsule, and what's described as a complex process that involves a lot of preparation and the right type of ship and equipment.
We flood the back of the well deck, or the ship does rather. It's kind of like a giant swimming pool where they drop the stern gate, and we flood and we tow the capsule in using a winch, and we set it down in the yellow cradle behind me.
This small capsule weighs in at 18,000 pounds. NASA recovery officials say the real one will be at least 22,000 pounds. Commanding officer of the USS John Murtha, Jervy Alata, says the two-day recovery simulation was a great experience for his crew as they were able to be part of history.
You know, we've been worked really hard in the Navy. We do a lot of missions, but for the crew to have this opportunity to do something special at NASA and for the country has been a true blessing for them.
So again, NASA officials say the USS Murtha has been tasked to participate in the recovery efforts next year as long as it works out in terms of their mission and schedule. Live from Naval Station San Diego, Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
Very interesting stuff. Thank you so much, Marie. Also at Naval Base San Diego this morning, officials unveiling a new facility aimed at making the Navy more resilient to the supply chain crisis gripping the rest of the world. The base today opening a new supply center, one of several the Navy is opening throughout California. Basically, the Navy is using it to stock tools and supplies that will be used on industrial naval projects so that the branch isn't slowed down by supply chain issues. Ultimately, though, it will only be able to do so much.
It's built to withstand some disruptions, but the disruptions are happening all over the world at different times for different lengths. In this case, it is not built to withstand that.
Now, there's also a supply center being opened at Naval Base Coronado. The Navy says it could open more of those throughout the region in the future.
Stopping the sewage problem at the U.S.-Mexico border that we have reported on for years is going to take a comprehensive solution and hundreds of millions of dollars. The EPA just announced a series of plans in the works to try to fix this problem. ABC 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie joining us live. Mary, I know you had a chance to speak to the mayor of Imperial Beach, and he seems pretty excited about these plans.
And, you know, we've talked to him so many times over the years about this. No one perhaps has a more vested interest in solving this problem than the people here in Imperial Beach, and certainly the mayor, who's been fighting it for most of his lifetime. But he sounded the most excited I have ever heard him when talking about these comprehensive plans announced by the EPA.
The sewage has ruined my health. It's, you know, my kids don't want to surf in IB anymore. I can't surf anymore in IB because I don't want to get sick. I've had ear infections, sinus surgery twice. I had a hole in my ear that I had to get operated on.
Fixing the problems won't be easy, nor will it be cheap. It's expected to cost $627 million for a series of projects announced by the EPA on Monday. It's comprehensive infrastructure solutions on both sides of the border. And Mayor Serge Dedina said the work has already begun to mitigate the flow of sewage and trash polluting the Tijuana River, which flows from Mexico into San Diego and out into the Pacific Ocean. It involves treating and repurposing wastewater in a much larger capacity, building a treatment plant in Mexico, and installing huge trash booms, diverting water back to Mexico to be reused to solve their own water crisis. Ultimately, the expectation, though, is that it will reduce the number of days of impaired water quality in Imperial Beach by 95% in just 2 to 3 years.
If we would have had that system in place last year, we wouldn't have had 300 days of closed beaches or 200 days of closed beaches this year. So it's, you know, we're in a crisis situation, so everything they do will make a difference.
And you know, I've covered this story for years. We've been reporting on it for decades. As I mentioned, the mayor has been fighting it for most of his lifetime, but he's very confident that this is the most comprehensive set of solutions. It'll take many aspects. Some of them, he says, are already in the works. Reporting live in Imperial Beach, Mary McKenzie, ABC 10 News.
Mary, thank you very much. An arson investigation underway after a fire erupted at an abandoned home in Lincoln Park and a body was found inside. Fire sparked around 5:30 this morning and was under control about 15 minutes later. Now, crews say body found inside the home on Imperial Avenue, but it is unclear how that person died. Cause of death, along with what sparked that fire, under investigation.
Today, local faith leaders will hold a meeting to call on the Oceanside Police Department to adopt a mandatory de-escalation policy. Oceanside Police Chief Fred Armijo will be part of that meeting. Local faith leaders say a de-escalation policy could reduce use of excessive force and hold officers accountable. Just last month, the Carlsbad Police Department announced a new de-escalation policy, which is now in effect. Tonight's meeting, which is open to the public, will start at 6:30 at the Oceanside Sanctuary. Now to the investigation into the Capitol rioting in Washington. A House committee is expanding its reach, subpoenaing 6 more of former President Trump's allies. But another former Trump advisor, Steve Bannon, has already defied one of the subpoenas and so far done that without penalty, raising questions about whether the committee will receive cooperation from any of these new officials. ABC's Em Nguyen has the latest.
The House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot is demanding to hear from 6 of Donald Trump's former campaign advisors and confidants, seeking to compel their cooperation by issuing congressional subpoenas in an attempt to discover what they might know about the efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Representative Adam Schiff, a member of the January 6th panel, appearing on CNN, reiterating the importance of these new subpoenas.
I think the public understands how serious an attack on the Capitol is, and I think they share the concern about the fate of our democracy.
Among those on their list, former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, who spoke to Trump just before January 6th, encouraging him to invoke martial law to overturn the election results. And John Eastman, a lawyer who reportedly wrote a memo outlining how Vice President Pence could deny Joe Biden's victory by refusing to certify the Electoral College results.
We want to hear what they have to say.
But another ally close to the former president has previously defied the committee's subpoena. And now they're counting on the Justice Department to criminally prosecute Steve Bannon. Bannon is claiming executive privilege even though he hadn't worked in Trump's White House since 2017. Yet it's been 2 weeks and no decision from Attorney General Merrick Garland, which could result in the others feeling less pressure to comply with the congressional subpoenas. But the pressure may be growing for Garland to prove that congressional subpoenas are enforceable and that the rule of law applies to all. Former DOJ official Jeffrey Clark appeared under subpoena before the committee, but refused to answer their questions, claiming executive privilege. Now, members of the committee have threatened to hold Clark in contempt of Congress if he doesn't change his mind. Em Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
New plant opening in Carlsbad will help boost the number of rapid COVID-19 home tests that have been in short supply. Facility owned by San Diego-based healthcare company Quidel will make over-the-counter COVID-19 tests. 50 million tests a month are expected to come from that facility. That's about 600 million a year. The new plant also means hundreds of jobs. Carlsbad Mayor Matt Hall will be at the ribbon cutting today at noon.
So tonight, the Aztecs men's basketball team tipping off its season, looking to start things off with a win at home. They're going to be playing host to UC Riverside tonight. The Aztecs this season are eyeing a return trip to March Madness and a 3rd straight Mountain West title. Fans are understandably excited.
We have been counting the days. We cannot wait to be inside.
That's right. Fans will be back inside Viejas Arena, but they will need to keep in mind the new guidelines. Fans are required to show proof of vaccination or a recent negative COVID test. Masks are also required inside the building. Tip-off tonight at 7.
Well, straight ahead in Texas as fans recover from that deadly concert in Houston, documents providing new insight into what the organizers' plan was if things went wrong.
Just in time for Veterans Day, a special occasion for the public, a first in nearly 100 years at one of the country's most sacred sites honoring the military.
And another seasonal gorgeous day across our county, but we have some rain in the future. where we can see light showers and for how long. That's ahead in my full forecast. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at the roadways with CHP officer Mark LaTulip. Hopefully everything looking okay, but not looking like that from this shot.
It's not looking too bad out there, Vanessa. Our crash picture is really great. We don't have any crashes out there at the moment on our freeways, so that's great. We do have a couple closures, which what you're looking at right now is the northbound 15 in Escondido. The 9th Avenue ramp and the Valley Parkway ramp on the northbound side are closed for some maintenance, so watch out for that. But looking elsewhere in North County at the 78, as you head west, or looking west, everything is looking fine. I'm Officer Mark LaTulip with your 10 News Time Saver Traffic.
Thanksgiving travel this year might look more like it did pre-pandemic. AAA says more than 53 million people are expected to travel for the holiday. That is a 13% increase from last year and only 5% below 2019 levels. More than 4 million people are expected to fly, an 80% increase from last year. But most holiday travelers will likely be on the roads. AAA predicts 48 million people are driving this Thanksgiving.
For the first time in nearly a century, people are laying flowers in front of the tomb of the unknown soldier. The plaza is open to the public as part of a centennial commemoration. The tomb has been the final resting place for one of America's unidentified service members from World War I since November 11, 1921. The remains of 2 other unknown service members were added in later years. For the next 2 days, the public can walk on the plaza and lay flowers.
This amphitheater is an iconic symbol of Arlington National Cemetery and our nation's commitment to honoring those who have served and sacrificed for our great nation.
Since 1948, access has been exclusively reserved for sentinels of the 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment known as the Old Guard.
Well, now to the latest on the deadly concert in Houston. 8 people killed, hundreds injured at the Astroworld Festival. And we're learning more details about the timeline of what happened and the security plan that was in place at the event. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
Concert goers say it was pure pandemonium, and now we're getting a clearer picture of the chaos at Travis Scott's Astroworld Music Festival. Fans pleading for Scott to end the show as it turned fatal Friday night. 8 people dead between the ages of 14 and 27.
I'm trying to get Travis's attention and other people's attention, and then he's telling us to get down and everything, and we just get down. The security finally comes.
18-year-old Aiden Cruz says he was hoping to save lives after almost losing his own in the crowd crush. About 50,000 people surging toward the stage, swaying and pushing forward, knocking people to the ground and sandwiching many together.
I just remember just having so much weight on my body. I was using all the energy I had left in me, and I came to the point where I was accepting my death.
According to new documents obtained by ABC News, the operations plans didn't account for a crowd surge, and only 2 people had authority to stop the concert, the executive producer and festival director. Dozens were injured, including 9-year-old Ezra Blount. His family says he's fighting for his life after being trampled when he fell off his father's shoulders.
When we go to concerts and different events, we expect safety and security.
Scott releasing a video statement on Instagram.
I'm honestly just devastated.
He's offering to reimburse all attendees, pay for the 8 funerals and counseling sessions for those affected. The Houston police chief has said he met with Scott and his head of security before the performance to express concerns over public safety because of dangerous situations at previous Astroworld festivals. Now investigators are working to figure out why it took nearly 40 minutes to stop the rapper's show even after it was declared a mass casualty event. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Fernando Tatis Jr. is on the short list for one of the league's top honors, the history he'd make if he walks away with that hardware.
And later, a true engineering marvel, how one man managed to combine his 2 true loves, skateboarding and pizza.
Padres star Fernando Tatis Jr. is one of 3 finalists for the National League's Most Valuable Player Award.
Yeah, Tatis led the NL with 42 home runs.